Opening, mindfulness in the everyday. Welcome to Mindfulness, where we explore how small, intentional moments can change the way we live. The first time I read Thich Nhat Hanh's words on mindfulness, it felt like someone had handed me a missing key. He wasn't telling me to escape to a mountain or meditate for hours every day. He was inviting me to simply be here, right now, in whatever I was doing. Eat and know that you are eating. Walk and know that you are walking. Breathe and know that you are breathing. In the United States, mindfulness often gets portrayed as something you have to schedule in or do with special apps, cushions, and incense. But Thich Nhat Hanh, along with American teachers like Jon Kabat-Zinn and Sharon Salzberg, show us a different truth. Mindfulness is available in every single moment, no matter where you are or what you're doing. I remember one afternoon rushing through lunch at my desk, barely tasting my food while answering emails. I glanced at the clock, realizing I couldn't even recall my last bite. That was the moment I decided to try what Thich Nhat Hanh calls mindful eating. Instead of multitasking, I closed my laptop, looked at the plate, and took one slow bite. I noticed the texture, the flavors, the simple pleasure of chewing. My shoulders softened. My breathing slowed. In less than 5 minutes, the stress of the morning had melted away. Mindfulness is not about making life perfect. It's about fully living the life we have. When we practice it while drinking tea, walking to the car, or washing dishes, we transform ordinary moments into nourishing ones. Neuroscience backs this up. Research from Harvard shows that people are significantly happier when their minds are present in what they're doing, no matter how small the activity. Thich Nhat Hanh often compared mindfulness to a gentle lamp, one that lights up each moment we touch with awareness. You don't have to force yourself to be calm. You simply return, again and again, to what is happening right now. In this series, we'll explore how mindfulness can weave itself into eating, walking, working, talking, and simply being, so that life feels less like a blur and more like a gift. And it all begins with learning how to be present, right here in this very breath. Mindful eating, savoring each bite. Thich Nhat Hanh often said, mindful eating is not simply about what we eat, but how we eat. When we bring awareness to our meals, we're not just feeding the body, we're nourishing the mind and heart. In today's fast-paced American lifestyle, eating often becomes an afterthought. We grab a protein bar while driving, scroll through our phones during lunch, or eat dinner while watching TV. The body is fed, but the mind is still starving for presence. I know this well. There was a time when my meals were nothing more than background noise to my busy schedule. Then I read Thich Nhat Hanh's description of eating an orange. He wrote about holding it gently, noticing the texture of the skin, the fragrance as it's peeled, the burst of juice with each bite. It wasn't about the orange. It was about honoring the moment. I decided to try this with my morning toast. I noticed the golden crust, the warmth in my hands, the soft crunch with each bite. The experience felt strangely luxurious, not because of the food, but because I was truly there for it. American mindfulness pioneer Jon Kabat-Zinn often uses a raisin in his workshops to teach the same principle. He asks participants to look closely at it, smell it, feel its texture, and only then place it in the mouth, slowly chewing, noticing the flavor unfolding. The point isn't the raising itself, it's the shift from automatic to intentional living. Science supports this shift. Research from the University of California shows that mindful eating can reduce overeating, improve digestion, and even lower stress levels. It slows us down, giving the body time to register fullness and the mind time to register gratitude. A simple way to start: choose one meal a day to eat without distractions. Put the phone away, turn off the TV. Before the first bite, pause and silently thank the earth, the farmers, the cooks, and everyone who helped bring the food to you. As you eat, notice the colors, textures, and tastes. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the experience of eating. Thich Nhat Hanh believed that when we eat mindfully, we touch more than just the food. We touch the whole universe. The sunlight that grew the vegetables, the rain that nourished the soil, the hands that harvested the grain. Eating becomes more than a task. It becomes a meditation on interconnection and gratitude. In the next part, we'll take mindfulness off the table and onto the path, exploring how mindful walking can turn an ordinary step into a doorway to peace. Mindful walking, peace in every step. Thich Nhat Hanh taught that peace is every step. He meant that we don't have to wait until we've reached our destination to feel calm or happy. Every single step we take can be an arrival if we walk with awareness. In modern life, walking is often just a means to an end. We rush from the parking lot to the store, from the office to the car, from one meeting to the next. Our minds are already in the next moment, planning, worrying, or replaying the past. I used to walk this way without even realizing it, until I tried what Thich Nhat Hanh calls walking meditation. The practice is beautifully simple. As you walk, match your breath to your steps. You might breathe in for 2 steps, breathe out for 3. With each step, silently say something like, I have arrived on the in-breath, and I am home on the out-breath. Suddenly, walking is no longer just transportation. It becomes a way to come back to yourself. American mindfulness teacher Sharon Salzberg often encourages her students to turn even the most ordinary walk into a mindfulness practice. Whether it's walking your dog, going to the mailbox, or moving through a crowded city sidewalk, you can pay attention to the feeling of your feet touching the ground, the rhythm of your breath, and the sounds around you. I once practiced mindful walking during my lunch break at work. Instead of scrolling through my phone, I walked slowly around the block, noticing the warmth of the sun on my skin, the rustle of leaves, the way my feet made contact with the earth. By the time I returned to my desk, the stress that had been tightening my chest had eased. It was like taking a mini vacation without going anywhere. Neuroscience research supports this. Studies from the University of Wisconsin show that mindful walking can reduce anxiety, improve mood, and enhance focus. It's not just exercise for the body, it's a reset for the mind. To start, you don't need a quiet forest or a meditation retreat. You can practice in a hallway, a park, or even while walking from your car to the grocery store. The key is to slow down enough to notice each step and each breath. Over time, you'll find that the simple act of walking can become one of the most grounding and joyful parts of your day. In the next part, we'll explore mindful working, how to bring awareness, clarity, and even joy into the tasks and responsibilities that fill so much of our lives. Mindful working, bringing presence to what you do. Thich Nhat Hanh often said, work is not only a means to make a living, it is a chance to express your love. When we approach our tasks with mindfulness, whether we are cooking, answering emails, cleaning, or building something with our hands, each action becomes more than a duty. It becomes a way of caring for ourselves and others. In the US, the work culture often pushes us toward multitasking and constant speed. We pride ourselves on productivity, yet many of us feel drained, disconnected, and unfulfilled. I remember working on a project where I was switching between emails, meetings, and phone calls so fast that I barely registered what I was actually accomplishing. At the end of the day, I felt exhausted, but strangely empty. Mindful working shifts that. It invites us to be fully present with one task at a time. When washing dishes, wash the dishes, not while replaying yesterday's argument in your mind. When writing an email, write the email, not while planning dinner. Thich Nhat Hanh believed that when we focus fully on the present task, even the most ordinary work can become joyful and deeply satisfying. Jon Kabat-Zinn, the American pioneer of mindfulness-based stress reduction, often reminds his students that mindfulness is not about doing less, it's about doing with more awareness. When we give our full attention to a task, not only do we make fewer mistakes, but we also experience a sense of calm that multitasking never provides. I once tried this during a day of data entry, a job I usually found monotonous. Instead of rushing, I paid attention to the sound of the keyboard, the feel of my hands moving, and the rhythm of my breath. The work didn't become thrilling, but it became lighter, more peaceful. I ended the day feeling less drained, as if I'd been working with my mind instead of against it. Research from Stanford University shows that multitasking reduces efficiency and increases stress. Mindful working, on the other hand, improves focus, creativity, and overall job satisfaction. The shift isn't in what you're doing, but how you're doing it. To begin, choose one task today, something simple like folding laundry, replying to messages, or cooking dinner, and commit to doing only that. Notice the movements, the sensations, the details you might normally overlook. If your mind drifts, gently guide it back to the task at hand. Over time, you may find that this practice spills over into the rest of your day, transforming work from a source of stress into a source of steady energy. In the next part, we'll look at mindful communication, how presence and awareness can transform the way we speak, listen, and connect with others. Mindful communication, speaking and listening with presence. Thich Nhat Hanh believed that the way we speak and listen can either build bridges or burn them. He called mindful communication an act of love. When we are truly present in a conversation, whether with a loved one, a colleague, or even a stranger, we create space for understanding and connection to grow. In today's fast-paced, distraction-filled world, real listening has become rare. We often half listen while scrolling through our phones, or we mentally prepare our next response instead of truly hearing the other person. I once caught myself nodding along to a friend's story while thinking about my to-do list. Later, I realized I had missed the heart of what she was trying to share. Thich Nhat Hanh's practice of deep listening is a way to change that. It means listening without judgment, without interruption, and without the urge to fix the other person's feelings. You focus not just on the words, but on the emotions behind them. Your intention is simply to help the speaker suffer less. American teacher Sharon Salzberg also speaks of loving speech, using words that are truthful, kind, and timely. She suggests pausing before speaking and asking yourself, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? This simple filter can prevent many careless words from causing harm. I once tried this during a tense work conversation. My colleague was upset, and my instinct was to defend my point immediately. Instead, I took a slow breath and said, I hear that you're frustrated. Tell me more about what's bothering you. That one sentence changed the tone instantly. We ended up solving the issue faster, with more trust on both sides. Neuroscience research from UCLA shows that when people feel truly listened to, their stress levels drop and they become more open to collaboration. In other words, mindful communication isn't just good for relationships, it's good for problem solving. A simple way to begin is to give someone your full attention during your next conversation. Put down your phone, make eye contact, and listen all the way through without planning your reply. When you speak, slow down enough to choose words that add warmth rather than tension. Thich Nhat Hanh often reminded his students, words can travel across thousands of miles. They can either build up or destroy. By bringing mindfulness into our speech and listening, we can make our words a source of healing, not harm. In the next part, we'll explore mindful resting, how intentional rest can nourish our bodies and minds in a world that glorifies constant activity. Mindful resting, the art of truly stopping. Thich Nhat Hanh often said, resting is not a luxury, it is a necessity for our body and mind. In a culture that celebrates hustle and constant productivity, true rest can feel almost rebellious. But without rest, our energy, clarity, and compassion slowly run dry. In the US, it's common to hear people say they'll rest when everything's done. But the truth is, everything is never done. I remember working weeks without a real break, thinking I was being disciplined. In reality, I was running on fumes. My work suffered, my patience shrank, and I found myself snapping at people I cared about. Mindful resting isn't just about lying down or sleeping. It's about fully allowing yourself to stop. Thich Nhat Hanh called it doing nothing without feeling guilty. It might mean sitting quietly with a cup of tea, lying in the grass, or closing your eyes for a few minutes in the middle of the day. The key is to be fully present with the rest, rather than using it to plan, worry, or scroll endlessly through your phone. American mindfulness teacher Jon Kabat-Zinn teaches a practice called the body scan for rest. You lie down, close your eyes, and slowly bring attention to each part of the body, noticing sensations without judgment. This simple exercise signals to your nervous system that it's safe to relax, which can lower stress hormones and promote deeper healing. I once tried this in the middle of a stressful workday. I closed my office door, set a timer for 10 minutes, and simply sat, focusing on my breath. At first, my mind resisted, listing all the things I should be doing, but eventually, my shoulders loosened, my heartbeat slowed, and when I returned to work, I felt surprisingly refreshed. Research from the University of Illinois shows that short, intentional breaks can significantly improve focus and productivity. It turns out that resting isn't time lost. It's time invested in working better and living better. You can start small. The next time you feel tired, instead of pushing through, pause. Take 5 slow breaths. Let your body soften. Give yourself permission to rest fully, even for a minute or two. Over time, you may find that these small moments of mindful rest help you move through the day with more patience, clarity, and ease. In the final part, we'll bring everything together, reflecting on how mindfulness in everyday life can transform not only how we live, but also how we love, work, and connect. We'll close with an invitation to continue this journey with the Mindfulness Channel. Living mindfully every day. Mindfulness is not something we turn on and off like a switch. It's a way of being. Through eating, walking, working, communicating, and resting with awareness, we begin to see that every moment can be a moment of practice. Thich Nhat Hanh often said, "The miracle is not to walk on water. The miracle is to walk on the earth." This is the heart of mindfulness, finding the extraordinary within the ordinary. When mindfulness becomes part of daily life, even simple acts take on new depth. Drinking water is no longer just quenching thirst. It's connecting with the rain, the clouds, and the rivers that made it possible. Walking to the bus stop becomes a chance to feel the ground under your feet, the breeze on your skin, the rhythm of your own breathing. Conversations become less about talking and more about truly connecting. American teachers like Jon Kabat-Zinn, Sharon Salzberg, and Jack Kornfield echo this truth. Mindfulness is not about escaping the world. It's about fully engaging with it, with clarity and compassion. It's about showing up for your own life, moment after moment, no matter what that moment contains. I've found that the more I practice, the less I feel like life is rushing past me. Instead of living on autopilot, I catch the colors of a sunset, the sound of laughter, the comfort of a shared meal. Stress still comes, but it no longer owns me. Mindfulness doesn't erase challenges. It gives me the space to meet them with a steadier heart. If you take one thing away from this series, let it be this. Mindfulness is not about doing more. It's about being more present, more connected, more alive. And that's exactly what we explore here at Mindfulness. Practical ways to bring awareness, peace, and compassion into your everyday life. If this journey has inspired you, I invite you to keep practicing with us. Together, we can make every breath, every step, and every moment a doorway to presence and joy.